Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Central Texas Living with Ann Harder.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ann Harder. Welcome to Central Texas Living, the podcast. Today, we will take a virtual trip south of Waco and Temple to one of my favorite places on the planet, and that would be the village of Salado. Who better to guide us in hearing about the iconic business there, the historic Stagecoach Inn, than the delightful Tiffany Schreiner. Tiffany, we've been knowing each other a while now.
We have
A lot of different things happening in Salado, and I want to hit all of them.
Let's do it.
And you're the expert.
Wow.
But let's start with the Stagecoach Inn. Let's paint a picture for folks, because I know people are tired of being locked down. They're ready to go and do something. And what better than to just take a short trip and feel like you're going back in history, but enjoying such a wonderful place. And that would be Salado, the village of Salado. I love the fact that it's called a village.
It is. We are certainly a village, and it takes one to do what we're all trying to do there together. Salado is steeped in such a beautiful, rich history. From the Chisholm Trail to Sam Houston's famous speech at the Stagecoach Inn. And, I have, as so many have, created just decades of memories at Stagecoach, and it's become such a part of family tradition, and so I feel like we're so lucky that it's been it's under its own sort of resurrection right now, and we're coming in to partnership with a beautiful hotel group called Bunkhouse. And if anyone knows anything about Bunkhouse, you know that they are devoted to an authentic, unique experience, and Stagecoach certainly embodies that. So many beautiful changes on the horizon that are deeply rooted in Texas and Central Texas history, while welcoming a bright new future as well.
Of course, the restaurant there, I think I read that it is the oldest continuing serving restaurant in the state, right?
Yes. Well, oldest continuing, yes, correct. Oldest continuing running restaurant, second oldest hotel.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and
we've been around a little while. We say, we're celebrating tradition across 3 centuries.
And this was about 1852, so it does go back a ways.
A little ways, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And we very much are focused on honoring our rich roots and our rich history, while we usher in this new chapter.
Well, I had a chance to come down several months ago, and we did a Facebook Live there. You're making some major changes at the Stagecoach Inn as well to make it even more attractive for like weddings and that kind of thing.
Yes, for all sorts of events, weddings, corporate events, live music events. We have a beautiful new room called the Longhorn Room, event room, and it's a multi-purpose room. We've held several weddings there already. It debuted in April. Well, we all know where we were in April 2020.
Not much happening.
Right. We did still have some weddings that had been booked prior, still come to fruition in kind of a new way, a newly imagined way, so to speak. And it holds about 200 people. And then we will be unveiling our new beautiful pavilion that sits just adjacent to our year-round heated pool there on the grounds, on the property, sometime in May or June.
Yeah. Of course, Salado proper has gone through some hard times. All that highway work just decimated the economy there. Then we had COVID.
It sure did. And, that was, around, it kind of started, I think, around 2009 or so. We saw economic downturn. We saw I-35 expansion, kind of all of that collide at once. But for me, as someone who's been, I've been a lifelong Saladoan. I mean, my family roots go back to the 1800s there with Peaceable Kingdom, as you know, Peaceable Kingdom Retreat, and my family there, Jim and Dari Spomer. We've celebrated so many Christmases and birthdays at Stagecoach, with them. But, you know, as I've seen Salado and Bell County evolve and change, what I can say about that economic downturn and that I-35 expansion and now COVID, and the gifts that it's brought. One of the beautiful gifts that it's brought, you know, I kind of liken it to a forest fire. While the forest fire is devastating, and it certainly changes the course of so many families and businesses and artists and artisans, it brings about this kind of new growth that would have never happened otherwise. And we're seeing that now. And it's, you know, there's a word that keeps coming up for me, and it's the word becoming. And I think if we can really marinate in that word and what it means, becoming the best of who we're called to be, then maybe we have somewhere to grow from.
Yeah. Well, the possibilities are endless. And like I say, people are looking for, you know, maybe a quick getaway. And Salado is such a perfect place because you do feel like you've stepped back in time. The Salado Creek back behind there, I remember being shown, you can actually see the wagon wheel ruts from the Chisholm Trail, you know?
Yeah. Certainly echoes of our ancestors and their hard work and perseverance. And I think that in itself is vastly inspiring. We've just finished our sidewalks in Salado and our darling, I call them, you know, kind of Mayberry-esque lamppost and sidewalk. So, you know, from the very south end of Main Street all the way to the full north end of Main Street, you have beautiful sidewalk access and lighting available. So you can, you know, come see us for, let's say, like a Thursday through Sunday at Stagecoach. And, you know, you walk out of your hotel room, you have beautiful dining at your fingertips. We have a wonderful chef, and I don't put that lightly.
Yeah, let's talk about the food, because I know a lot of people like me, as you say, generations of going to the Stagecoach Inn and the tomato aspic and the strawberry kiss and the hush puppies and the things that you remember. Are those still on the menu? Are you having a little salute to the past?
Certainly. Our hush puppies are always available.
They're so good.
Yes. Our strawberry kiss with ample butter, I might add. Our strawberry kiss is there, and, you know, still part of the legacy. Tomato aspect comes and goes. We haven't had as many requests for that as we have the hush puppy, certainly, not strawberry kiss. But tomato aspect can still be available for private events and you know, upon sort of a reservation of request. I was just dining there yesterday, and you know, I was sitting in our little atrium room right off of the beautiful bar area, and the bar by itself and the fireplace, you know, just staggering and stunning and just so cozy and yet elegant. But our atrium, it sits just adjacent to the bar, and it kind of feels like a upscale yet very simple, timeless treehouse in a sense, because it's all glass.
And it's built around a very special tree.
It is. Yes, certainly. We have a century oak there that arborists have estimated is over 500 years old.
Oh my goodness.
It's quite unreal to sit in its presence. It was a brand new menu item to me that I ordered yesterday, and it was just this pomegranate beet salad that was such just prismatic array of color, and you know, it was southern and simple and yet elevated. You know, and so Patrick's really, our chef, is just so talented in that way and so gifted. He keeps it southern, he keeps it Texan, but he gives you this farm to table brightness that you don't find everywhere.
Well, you mentioned your amazing grandparents, the Bummers, and so let's totally shift gears and talk about Peaceable Kingdom Retreat for Children. Sure. Now, your sweet brother, who died at only, 10 months?
11 months.
11 months of age, is kind of the reason for this. And this goes back, you know, many years.
It does. I was about 2.5 when he passed away. We lovingly refer to him as Baby Charlie. And Baby Charlie was born with a congenital heart defect. Essentially, he had a little hole in his heart. And at the time, the technology wasn't available to save his life, even though we moved to Boston, and the number one surgeon, cardiac, pediatric surgeon at the time, heart surgeon, did their best. You know, they did their best. But ultimately, he just couldn't, you know, his heart couldn't make it. But, you know, once again, you know, it's this tragic thing that's happened to our family and to the world who didn't get to know him. But his spirit remains. And because of his spirit and his memory, there's a beautiful place called Peaceable Kingdom, and it's, you know, in the heart of Bell County on the Lampasas River, about 120 acres, and it serves around, you know, 10 to 12,000 special needs families every year.
It was started by your grandfather.
It was.
Jim Ballmer, as just a place for kids who were sick at Scott and White Hospital.
That's right.
To be able to come and fish and maybe just forget.
Right.
For a little while they were sick. And it grew from that.
It did. It started out as what we call just a little fishing camp, Baby Charlie's Fishing Camp. And a woman named Jan Upchurch, who's still around, and she's just such a persevering, you know, warrior for children. She was the director of, I think they called it Child Life at the time, for both, I think, Scott and White and King's Daughters, what was King's Daughters Hospital back in the mid-80s, early 80s, mid-80s. 1980s. and from there, huge-hearted philanthropists who were friends with my grandparents and my mother, Mary Helen Schreiner, they teamed up, and, you know, Sue Mayburn was at the helm of those philanthropic pioneers, and huge-hearted devotees to giving a better quality of life to countless kiddos.
Yeah, so any special needs child is able to have a camp experience that maybe they thought would never happen, or the parents thought their child couldn't enjoy those kinds of things.
Our mission at Peaceable Kingdom, and it's now referred to as Varieties Peaceable Kingdom, we merged with a nonprofit called Variety Texas. So it's Varieties Peaceable Kingdom. We lovingly call it PK. Yeah. So, you know, at PK, we serve all these kiddos, but the primary mission is to reduce stigma and isolation. As we all know, in the era of COVID, I think we can all identify with that a little better now. Yeah. You know, this isolated feeling. So we bring them together so that, you know, where I might have a hand difference and I'm living in a world, let's say, where no one else around me in my daily life has a hand or arm or face difference, so to speak, an outstanding difference. And then I go to camp and there's my friend Anne, and she's got a hand difference, and we are able to connect on that level, that understanding, that empathetic sort of bond is formed, and before you know it, there's this sweet tribe of friendship that lasts for a lifetime. Well, it's an opportunity for kids to be able to just be a kid. That's right. And you know, what better gift can you give to a child than that? I mean, with my 3 children, I seek. None of them are have been diagnosed as special needs or anything really of that sort, but they're certainly very well aware of what we do at Peaceable Kingdom, and you know, I've seen it develop a sense of activism, for lack of a better term, in the hearts of my children without me preaching to them about it. You know, they simply understand it, and it's this basic human need for yearning, and you know, it's a yearning for connection. I would assume you need volunteers. Oh, do we ever? Yes. Yeah. And if you're, you know, if anyone's looking to get involved with Peaceable Kingdom, I recommend that they go to varietytexas.org, or they can, you know, email me and I'll direct them for sure. Tiffany Schreiner. Yeah. Yeah, because that is one of the most rewarding things, to be able to assist where you're needed. Certainly. I mean, you know, any one of us can point to a challenge that we see, you know, in another person, but until you've really walked alongside a person or walked through it yourself, it's almost impossible to truly understand. So that gives you an opportunity for your heart to expand. No question about that. And so there's websites they can go to. Yes. Yes, varietytexas.org is the best one for Peaceable Kingdom related events and info and volunteer needs and donation needs. Yeah, you know, I'm sure you're always raising money too. Our fundraising was really hit by COVID. I mean, I can't express that enough. So, you know, if you feel compelled or called to volunteer or donate on any level in any realm, then, you know, that's always welcome. Yeah. So how many children, now that COVID things are starting to lift, I mean, how's that being impacted? As far as serving kids. Right. So according to our executive director, Stacy Bruce, she relayed to me the other day, you know, that here's the thing, we've gone to a much more virtual experience, but we have also really elevated our virtual experience game that we didn't have before. And now as COVID begins to lift, we'll be able to integrate both, you know, an in-person face-to-face experience as well as a virtual experience, because there are many children and families in our networks whose immune systems are still so compromised and likely will always be, that a virtual experience might be the only way that they'll ever be able to participate in the programs that we offer. And
but otherwise, it is like an overnight camp.
It is for many. There are day camps as well. They're in a non-COVID situation. We typically offer about a dozen diagnosis-specific camps per summer. So, for example, if I've been diagnosed as diabetic and you have, then we go to Camp Bluebonnet. Or if it's asthma, it's the Wheeze Away camp, or Out on a Limb camp for those with limb and hand and foot differences. So, thus enabling that tribal connection.
And what kinds of activities do they do?
Oh my goodness, what do they not do? Outdoor education, outdoor awareness, outdoor.
So you even have like ropes type things,
zip
and
lines,
all that?
yes,
How
zip lines.
How fun would that be for a kid who maybe is in a wheelchair all the time?
Oh my goodness, it's so liberating and empowering.
Like being able to fly.
It is the expressions on their faces and the stories that they tell after, and just the shrieks of laughter and excitement that they've probably never experienced and wouldn't otherwise. It's unparalleled, and for me personally, such a gift for me and my family and my tribe to witness and experience. Just to bear witness in that joy is a gift in itself.
Yeah, well, and to see how this Charlie's Little Fishing Camp has grown into a varieties peaceable kingdom. I mean, it is a remarkable thing, and just a great thing for that part of Texas. And I guess kids from all over can go.
Yes, from all over. And if you're interested in it, then I, as a volunteer or as a participant, varietytexas.org has videos, a plethora of information. You will find probably more information than you need. They've got a great website going.
Well, another sort of similar activity is the push that you have kind of created, and that is to create an all-inclusive playground in Salado, and that is linked very heavily to something near and dear to our hearts, and that is Sirena Fest. So let's talk about Sirena Fest. What is Sirena, and just tell me the legend.
Oh, Sirena. So Sirena, and if you translate the word Sirena, it is Spanish, actually. In Texas, we always put a Texas spin on things.
No, because Salado itself means
salty.
It
does.
It's a salty creek.
Yeah, salty sirens.
So you take that where you want to.
That's a party in itself waiting to happen. So she is this beautiful Native American mermaid. Mer creature who was sculpted by artist Troy Kelly in the late 1970s, and he gifted this sculpture of this tiny, feisty, mighty mermaid to Salado, and people from all over the world come to photograph her.
Yeah, she's right there along the creek.
She is. She used to be nestled in the springs, but flood after flood made it near impossible to keep her intact, and so she sits just adjacent to the beautiful creek in the gardens there near Stagecoach property, so I guess about 12 or 13 years ago, when my daughter Harper was little, she's now almost 14. Goodness gracious!
Yeah, they grow up.
Ugh. And so she was playing in the springs, and Sirena was still there in the springs at the time, and I just kept seeing this mermaid parade and how it just needed to happen, and how it would be. I didn't know what all it would become, but I knew that it would be a gift to our community and to those who were a part of it, and I knew that one of the key tenets would certainly be a celebration of courageous creativity, and whatever that looks like. And what is, when we share our creativity, it is an act of courage. You never know how, it's a vulnerable act, and you're digging within your own soul to create something. And so I just felt like it was time to celebrate all of the courageous acts of creativity in Central Texas and beyond, and what better sort of iconic inspiration than this mighty mermaid. And so we named it Sirena Fest, and we launched it coming out of that economic downturn you and I were just talking about, in the I-35 expansion in 2017.
Yeah, it hadn't been very many years.
No, 2017. The inspiration began about 14 years ago, like I said, 14 years ago, but yeah, we launched it in 2017, and we thought, if 100 people come out, that'd be so sweet. And Barrel Brewing had just opened as well. They're dear friends of ours, The Hills, And so that's such a gift unto itself to Salado Barrel Brewery.
Mm-hmm.
So
and of course the Glassworks is there.
Glassworks.
And they stayed, which
Yeah.
is so exciting. They talked about moving to Georgetown and then
Yeah,
Salado not to,
we
so
were,
that's good.
Our little mighty village was able to keep them.
And that's good.
It is. And you know, and so the parade wraps and culminates right there. It cascades down along the banks of Salado Creek across from Glassworks, right next to Barrow and Sugar Shack and Benton's Jewelry and all of those wonderful one-of-a-kind places. We thought 100 would come, and TxDOT estimated, along with Salado PD, that we had about 2,500 show up, I think, our first year.
Yeah. So there was a hunger for this.
Right. So it was a thing.
Suddenly it was dress up like a mermaid and let's party.
Right. Or any kind of mer-inspired creature. You know, we have
merman or
rugged Texas Creek pirates, and we have cosmic catfish, and we have, you know, you just go down the line with wherever your imagination takes you. But it is certainly becoming a beacon for inclusivity and for courage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And any funds raised now are, as I suggested, are going towards a all-inclusive.
Yes, an all-abilities inclusive park there in Pace Park. That's where we plan to break ground, hopefully this year if COVID allows us to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm not going to be a cheap project. So,
No, ma'am.
you know, you're still raising money for that.
We are very much so. And if anyone is interested, they can email me directly. They can look up the hashtag Sirena Fest. And find us that way.
And this has always been in the fall, right?
It is. The event itself, the Mermaid Parade, the official 5th annual Mermaid Parade and Festival, will take place October 1st. It's always the first Saturday in October.
Okay, so mark your calendars.
That's right, October 1st. Mark those calendars. And there are offshoot events now that happen year round. We used to call, you know, September and October mermaid season in Salado, but it's become a year round thing. So we are mermaid
as well
season.
It should, yeah.
That's right.
There are books you can buy,
yes.
storybooks about the mermaid legend there in Salado, and it's just a wonderful thing.
There's a new book coming also.
Oh, really?
Yes. It is authored by me.
Oh, well, look at you.
And it's something I've been working on for a while.
Uh-huh.
And my book illustrator is vastly talented, so that'll be ready by the festival this year too.
I can't wait.
I'm
I can't
excited.
wait.
We are.
Well, there's just so much happening in Salado, so many reasons to go. And I just routinely have to go and get my Salado fix. I mean, I don't know what it is about Salado that I love so much. We have so many happy memories of going with friends and just staying in a bed and breakfast, and the guys would play golf, and we'd play, there's little tennis courts there. My lady friends, we'd play tennis and shop and just have the best time.
You know, there's something I think for all walks and all ages in Salado, and really every budget, to be quite frank, you know.
True.
If you want to have a very refined, sort of luxurious experience, it's there waiting for you. If you want to have a more outdoor, low budget experience, it's there waiting for you. If you're into art, it's certainly waiting for you.
Right. It really is considered an artist enclave.
It is. But, you know, we also have, you know, a roping arena and live music. Of all sorts, not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love some Texas country. I'm born and raised Texan. However, you know, we have everything from classical, Christian, live music concerts all the time. Of really, and Katie Hill of Barrow has done a great job of bringing South by Southwest and ACL acts to Salado. They're at Barrow Brewery, and we'll be bringing some more of those and folk and Americana acts to Stagecoach as well, to our new pavilion.
That's great.
Stage.
Yes, another venue for performers, and you know, I can tell you, live musicians have really suffered during this shutdown.
Yes, they
really
have.
have.
And so we're bringing them in as quickly as it makes sense too.
Very good. And of course, right across the street from the Stagecoach Inn is the museum.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So the Central Texas Museum was, you know, originally created in Salado, was originally created by the Robertson family. If you do any sort of history research, you can do a quick Google search these days, of course. The Robertson family helped to establish Salado. They are credited with establishing Salado and to help get the first liberal arts college in Texas off the ground, and it was there rooted in Salado. And the ruins of the college sit right next to the museum.
Salado College, right
Beautiful there. You know, they've done a wonderful job at of really keeping those grounds well manicured and preserved. And so a lovely human being by the name of Dave Swarthout is the director of the museum. And, he's just, his heart and soul are so devoted to honoring not just Salado, but all of Central Texas.
Yes.
and preserving so many of those rich historical stories that have been the foundation of who we are today.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're having a ribbon cutting actually this Saturday at the museum. Stagecoach will be there supporting it. Sirena Fest will be there supporting it, of course. I think it's at 6 p.m. The reception and ribbon cutting.
We did the balcony on
That's
the front.
right.
Yeah,
they did, and they've done a lovely job. And they have many new exhibits coming there this summer. They'll be honoring female aviators in the history of female aviators. Grace Jones was one of the pioneers, and she's one of our Saladoans. And also on the note of the Robertson family in the museum, one of our most heroic, legendary women to come from Salado, other than Grace Jones, and my grandmother Doris Bomer, who had Salado Art Galleries, was a woman by the name of Liz Carpenter.
Really?
That's right. And at Stagecoach, we have a bar room named after her, a beautiful bar room named after her. But she is a descendant of the Robertson family, and she was one of LBJ and JFK's advisors.
Oh, yeah.
Just a force in her own right.
Yes, no question. As you are, my dear Tiffany, you truly are. And I have loved just kind of taking this little stroll back down the interstate to Salado. But I like to end these visits with a questionnaire. It's similar to the one that the late, great James Lipton used on Inside the Actor's Studio. And we'll start with, what is your favorite word?
Becoming.
I was going to say, you already knew about this.
Yeah, I think that's my word right now.
Well, and that's a great word. What is your least favorite word?
Hatred.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What turns you on creatively, emotionally, or spiritually?
Courage in the face of fear. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it can look so many different ways. And it can be very quiet sometimes. Sometimes it's very big and obvious. Sometimes it's very quiet, but also very deep and real.
Mm. What turns you off then, creatively, or spiritually, or emotionally?
Lack of inclusivity.
Mm-hmm. What sound do you love the most?
I would say the sound of my children's laughter.
What is your least favorite sound?
The sound of my two boys turning into grizzly bears, and I'm afraid that a murder is about to happen because of the two of them at each other. They're 8 and 4, mind you, but I do feel that National Geographic should have prepared me a little better on the grizzly bear rearing.
What other profession would you want to try?
Oh, goodness. I would say, in a sense, I gave up Broadway. That was my track. I was really gonna pursue professional dance on that level, and also yoga, the study of yoga. I still am a yoga teacher and will be forever, and have been for 20 years. But I think I probably would have become, a dancer on Broadway. Perhaps.
Okay. What do you know you would not want to do?
Anything that involves an Excel spreadsheet.
I'm right there with you on that. And finally, what do you want to hear God say to you as you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, honey, we did it.
Very good. Tiffany Schreiner, it's always a delight. You are, what's your official title with the Stagecoach?
Director of Outreach and Sales.
Okay, very good. And so how can folks get in touch with the Stagecoach Inn? I'd like to book a weekend or...
Sure. They can go to stagecoachsalado.com, or they can just email me simply at tiffany@stagecoachsalado.com.
All right. And Sirena Fest, you have a Facebook page.
We do. And we have several events. One kicking off this weekend. It's a Sirena Fest related event If you go to our Facebook page and our Instagram is Sirena Fest TX. We've got one called the Wildflower Waltz coming up next weekend. It'll be beautiful. All the info's there. And then we have our Myrrh Dash in April.
Lots of stuff happening in Salado.
Sure. And a fashion Myrrh Grotto happening in September. Tito's Vodka is coming on board to help support that and the playground. We're very excited. They announced that last week.
Well, that playground is then the next thing we're going to look forward to.
Well, I invite all who believe in children come on board.
Amen. Tiffany, thank you so much. It's
Thank
been a
you.
delight.
It's been an honor, as always. Thank you.
Central Texas Living is part of the Rogue Media Network family. Be sure to check out their other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate us 5 stars on iTunes and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Living, the podcast.
Hello, and thank you for tuning into KNOW Waco. I am your host, Debbie, here to help you get in the know about Waco. So you may be asking yourself, why am I here? I'm here to be your tour guide through Waco. I'm here to tell you all the goings-on in and around Waco. I'm going to give you the 411 on what's happening, what's going on, and what events you should go to. This is your host, Debbie, signing off. Now that you know, go. Just go, Waco.
You are going on a run.
Are you building a new business while managing a family? Are you tired of trying to balance home and work and everything seems to be coming up short? Then there's a podcast made just for you. Baking Your Business from Scratch is where we create the perfect recipe for building a successful business while managing your home and family with love. Come join us and see for yourself. Are you building